Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast.
Sorta.
I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
With some hiccups in between.
I didn't know we was bringing that to the pod.
Well,
that
it just happened right before, so I can't be fake.
Okay. Well,
Go ahead.
We had a little snafu right before we hit record. And apparently my lovely wife is carrying it over into podcast world.
Well, this is a podcast about relationships and we got to keep it real.
Okay. So keeping it real. This man right here was wrong.
What'd you do? Tell him.
We've been slacking on our
time management
and preparation, especially regarding the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it's time to do the podcast, I'm looking at my wife to get shit in order. And sometimes I come across as hurry the fuck up. And that's not my intent.
First of all, he would never talk to me like that. So let's be clear.
Okay.
But you kind of give that attitude.
I give off that vibe.
Are we ready? Are we done? We're ready to go? Let's go. What's your ETA? Which is, I get it, but it's also both of us slacked in terms of prioritizing preparation. And it's not like I was sitting down slacking all day. I woke up super early with the baby, breastfed him 3 times, made us breakfast, made us lunch, cleaned up the house. And he cleaned one bathroom and now he's acting like, what the fuck you been doing all day, bitch?
She's had this whole conversation in her head because I haven't said any of these things to her.
I know, but the pressure you just had on me right before recording made me feel like you were ugh, she can't get anything done. Obviously, I'm it's my own shit.
We
too.
Kissed right before this.
I know. Cause we getting over it. We recording.
This is the process.
Before we start, he was like, we can't press record now. He's like, do you need a hug? I was like, no. A kiss? No. I was like, I want some espresso. So he made me an espresso. He apologized and gave me a kiss, which is why we're here.
I hit record and
I needed to let the people
women
know.
Lie.
No, we're okay. But I just figured it was a learning moment.
Okay.
It was a teachable moment for our audience.
For all you men out there, or just people in relationships in general.
Yeah.
Anywho, how was your week, my love?
My week, I feel like it was a fog. I don't even remember the weeks. This week, I can't remember I can't tell the difference between this week and last week.
Yeah, this week flew.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take it. But yeah, it definitely flew. It flew at work. It flew at home. It just flew.
Talking about time flying, we always say that, oh, this week went by quick, the whatever. But I feel like I've reached the age where I sound like an old person that I'm really appreciate your life. Next thing you know, the years go by, live in the moment. You don't want to have regrets. I've officially reached that age.
Didn't you tell me you had a conversation with someone about that?
Yeah, so somebody, I think in my sister group chat, they were like, oh, it's Gemini season. Or they send me a Gemini meme. Everybody hates Geminis. So I'm like, wait, what the fuck? How is it almost my birthday again? For some reason, this year feels like the fastest year of my life. I clearly remember my last birthday and it doesn't seem like it was almost a year ago. So I started saying wow, I get it now. How we need to appreciate life.
And stop pushing things off.
Specifically, meeting up with people that we love. Some of our good friends we won't see in a couple of years. We can't do that anymore. With me having this realization, I'm we need to prioritize seeing the people we love, spending time with the people we love.
Yeah.
I really would regret having to be oh my God, I wish I saw this person more. Because life isn't promised. Tomorrow isn't promised. And the way the years are going, we're always going to be busy. We're always going to have something to do. And making plans might always suck. But when you are with the people you love and spending time with them, you never regret that.
Yeah, it's usually just the getting up and doing it. But once you're there, I don't feel like you ever really regret it.
You never regret making time for the people that you love. And I feel like we need to do more of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like even yesterday, we went to see your godmother, your god sister had a housewarming. And of course, we had a million things to do around the house. We wanted to plan the podcast, which is why our time management was off. And it was like getting out the house with 2 kids, figuring out what to wear. It's a hassle, but we had the best time.
Yeah.
We had so much fun, so much laughter.
And I was really close to saying, oh, we got too much shit to do. I was really close.
You were upset because your barber canceled on you.
Ugh, don't get me started.
You didn't get your hair cut. You were like, oh, you didn't want to go anywhere. And I'm so happy that we made it out the door.
Yeah. Because now that's a memory everyone will have.
Yeah. And even Eli has such a good time.
A lot of people got to meet the baby.
Yes. And it's like those moments we never regret.
You know, there's this, I don't know if the narrative is the right word, but you'll see these memes where I think it's like introverts when it's time to go out and someone cancels and they're like, oh, thank God.
Mm-hmm. And we all feel that sometimes when we aren't in the mood to get ready.
But it's also become like mainstream. You know,
it's become normal. Like people don't want to hang out or do things.
And I don't think we should normalize that. It doesn't always have to be in like a massive group of people, but I think you should definitely push yourself to make time for the people that you love, your loved ones.
And getting together doesn't have to be this extravagant thing.
Exactly. You know, we love to host people or tell someone, you know, everyone has that friend with the bigger space. Like, let's all come to you. We'll bring food. Like, it can be small.
Ordering takeout, watching Netflix. Like, there was a meme that I'm like, this is so me. It was like, I need a friend that wants to just come over and be bored with me. Like, that's me. Like, I want to just chill with someone on the couch, watching TV, scrolling through my phone.
And you have those friends. And I think that's important. And we have to definitely make time for our loved ones because time is flying. And I could think of like 10 people that I need to make time for. And I'm going to do better.
And it's a reminder of like work culture in this country because people don't have time for their friends and family because they're exhausted. If you work 40 hours in a week and you only have 2 days, you need to do laundry, you need to clean your house, you need to do X, Y, and Z. It's so exhausting.
My only pushback on that is that it's not that people are exhausted. People make time for the things they want to make time for because there are people who work 40 plus hours a week and they'll go to the gym, they'll go to an exhibit, but then they feel like friends are always going to be there, so they're not prioritizing them. So I don't fully agree with that. You just prioritize what's important to you, and you need to realize that your friendships are important.
Yeah, but I also feel like we don't need to work so much.
No, and that's a different conversation.
Because it's like, damn, I got to prioritize working out or meeting with friends. Like, why can't I do both? I want to prioritize having a clean house and hanging out with friends. Why can't I do both?
Yeah.
I've also this week been thinking a lot about priorities because the other day we did really well with cleaning up and organizing and stuff. But I know that there was like a good 3-4 hours that I didn't really engage with River. Like he was fed and clean, but we didn't like engage with him. So it's like people talk a lot about work-life balance. And I feel like no matter what, something is going to fall short. Like trying to find the balance could be toxic in itself.
Yeah, but I don't think it has to be viewed in a negative light. Like
exactly.
There's just things that have to be done. And
I agree.
Unfortunately, fortunately, there's a lot more positive to your circumstances, especially when it comes to River and Eli, than it is negative, especially with you being able to stay at home right now. So if you look at it on the brighter side, those 3 to 4 hours are like minuscule in comparison.
I know. And on the grand scheme of things, right? But I can't constantly have a clean house because then those 3-4 hours add up all the time. So I have to be okay with once in a while things aren't going to be pristine And that's okay because I'd rather spend a little more time engaging with my kid.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like trying to do it all is toxic as fuck.
You get burnt out.
Yeah, absolutely. We spent a lot of time talking about that. Something else that happened this week. 2 things this week in terms of podcast related achievements.
Oh, yeah.
Black Effect.
So Black Effect posted on their story and on their actual page. They were saying, tag your favorite podcast.
So Black Effect is a podcasting network by Black people for Black people.
It was started, I forget her name, but it was started by Charlemagne the God and...
Is her name Dolly?
I think it's Dolly.
His partner.
And
even though I think she's like ahead of him, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's a podcast network and they have some of the biggest podcasts in the game who happen to be Black. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't eyeing them for it to like, see me, help me.
We've we've sent them like a message through there, like contact us. And they said, should we add a new podcast to our lineup? So we had we posted on Instagram for our supporters to go on and like comment us. And they noticed us. They ended up sharing about like
6 or 7
different podcasts, and ours was one of them. They left us on red after that. They shared us. We messaged them. We were so excited. They left us on red, but we'll forgive them. Yeah. It's okay. Whenever they're ready to hit us up.
You know what I was also thinking? When did this happen?
I don't remember. A couple days ago.
Was it like a Thursday or a Wednesday?
Maybe Wednesday, Thursday.
So I'm thinking like Monday meetings when they're all like, all right, what do you got for us for the week?
Yeah.
It's like,
hopefully I keep seeing repeated numbers. My angel numbers will still be there.
So I think something will come from it. Yeah, I'm hopeful.
And the other thing is we just hit 5K subscribers on YouTube. So if you're watching us right now, thank you. Make sure you're subscribed because there's this trend that a lot of your viewers aren't even subscribed.
Yeah.
So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the like button, the bell. That's what Eli was said. The little YouTuber in him is like...
I know you've heard it a million times, but it really does help with the algorithm and making sure you're seeing our stuff.
Yeah. And making sure other people are seeing our stuff and helping our audience grow.
But even more importantly than YouTube, like, shout out to everyone who just listens to us. Those numbers are amazing.
Yeah, and we get a lot of downloads through other platforms.
So appreciate to y'all. I know sometimes you're on the go and listening is a lot easier. So, they're both equally important, but I appreciate the ones who just want to hear me in their ears.
Yeah.
Hello.
That deep ass voice. You do have a nice voice.
Thank you. Even though it's annoying you right now.
No, your voice is not annoying me, baby. I'm over it. The coffee is like getting to me. I'm happy again. All right, so let's get started with your Did You Know?
My Did You Know? I hate this phone.
Travis is never ready for Did You Know? You should have it open. Don't lock your phone.
Yeah.
So when I say it's time, you just have it. Boom.
I'm ready. Did you know? Did you know the average married couple has sex 68.5 times a year?
Wait, I need to get my calculator for that.
So I was wondering, like, what's the 0.5? Like, they just had a little head that night?
When you do averages, sometimes it's a decimal, baby.
So 68.5 times a year.
A year. So there's 365 days a year, and they have sex, I'm going to just say 69 times a year.
Giggity. What's the number?
I'm trying to see like how many times a month that is. Okay, hold on. I did that wrong.
Okay. If you need me to step in for this math equation.
69 divided by 365. I wanted a percentage.
Okay.
So that's only...
Oh my God.
18% of the year.
Okay.
19% of the year.
Okay.
So then if you think about that in a week, that's like about once or twice a week. How do you feel about that?
That's once or twice a week?
Mm-hmm. So think about if a week has 5 days. Let's not count the weekends. It's
we're
once
counting
a week.
7 days.
So that's why I said once or twice. I'm rough estimate.
Okay.
If I round 19% to 20%, and there's 5 days in a week, they have sex once a week. But there's 7 days, so it's once or twice a week.
Okay.
That's a good estimate. This isn't math class.
So what do you think about that number?
I think that's healthy.
Once to twice a week.
That's healthy.
And it's probably, I'm sure if we did the math, it probably leaned more towards once a week.
I think that's healthy.
I don't know.
What? What do you think?
I don't think it's healthy.
What's healthy to you?
3 to 5.
3 to 5 times a week. I feel like 3 to 5 times is a good week. And we aim to have those good weeks. But it's also, we're two people with, if we compare to like everybody, we are on the higher sex drive side. But I feel like on average for people, like that's healthy. There's people who don't have much sex.
Once a month, if that.
If that.
That's crazy.
That's what I think.
I'm not even coming at from the like sex fiend angle. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking in general, like even the people you don't even see in a sexual light. You know how some people they don't ooze sex. Mm-hmm. They still enjoy sex, mm-hmm. right? So having it once a week to me is not enough for a healthy relationship.
You know what's not healthy for me, a sexual person, is I saw something about masturbation May, so it made me think about it. Whenever I've had periods in my life where I wasn't sexually active, I wasn't even masturbating. Like I would go months without like an orgasm. Mm. That's not okay. I feel like we should all, like when we're in dry spells, even if you're in a relationship, orgasm.
Rub one out.
Yeah. Were you rubbing ones out while I was like recovering from labor?
Probably.
Probably.
I'll,
yes or no?
No, I'm pretty sure. But privacy is not easily available when you have a family.
Yeah. And we were so tired.
Yeah. And I'm not a fan of doing it in the shower.
Why? I know why. I just thought about it. Ew.
You know what? Everyone has experienced this, but sperm and water, it just makes this weird
consistency.
Like, Spider-Man web. Like
I literally was like, I know why. Right after
sucks.
I asked.
It's the worst. Yeah. So I'm sure I have. It's just be like on the rare occasion that you left the house or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
And I feel like during my recovery,
what that mouth do though?
We weren't like 100% just not sexual with each other. Yeah. We just weren't having vaginal intercourse or anal. I don't want people to be like, oh, y'all was nasty. No. All right. Where were we? Did you know? We finished. I think that's healthy. You don't think so?
I think I need to get your numbers up.
Yeah. I think that's healthy. I think if you're in a relationship that y'all both working, busy, parents especially, and y'all getting at least once a week, I think that's healthy.
I hold on, one more thing.
Okay.
And maybe this is just me, but I could be exhausted. Mm-hmm. And I'm still going to roll over and do, if you're ready, I'm ready.
You know why that's frustrating in our relationship?
Why?
Because I know that. Like, I know no matter how tired you are, we can have sex. And that's great for that. But then it's like, if I'm like, oh, before we go to bed, we need to finish this task. You're like, I'm tired. I can't.
That's
like,
different,
I don't want to do that. Like, oh, babe, I got to get up early. But I'm like, if I was like, let's fuck, you'd be like, okay. And you suddenly get a burst of energy.
That's different, though.
It is different, but it's like annoying when I need you to like
a better
do
payoff.
Something. Better pay. Yeah. Also, another thing I wanted to point out about that is once a week is an average or twice a week. Some weeks you don't have sex at all.
That's true. We've been there.
We've been there. We've had we were like, damn, it's been a crazy week. Like, and we haven't had sex, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And then you make up for it.
7 times this week.
It just depends.
But I do think overall messaging, prioritize that shit. It's not just going to happen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely got to prioritize it. So this might lead well into the next topic, red flags. So you might think we've talked about red flags, right? But we had a listener that listened to last week's episode, And in the also y'all can relate, we got a story and we kept saying, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. So the listener said, I'm watching your new podcast, Seeking Validation. That was episode 44. And the mention of red flags comes up. I was wondering, how do you guys feel about red flags? Do you think that a lot of them have been exaggerated by the media? In my opinion, I feel like everyone has red flags, but it's up to you to decide whether those are deal breakers or not. What do you think?
100% agree. It's become mainstream. I think we even might have pointed this out when we had Kiara as a guest, talking about how red flags have become like a thing. It's a meme. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do think it's become popular, and I don't think every quote unquote red flag is a deal breaker, but I do think some of the ones we were reading last week were definitely deal breakers.
Exactly. I was thinking that like red flags has also been used as an excuse if you don't like somebody. Like if you're not really feeling somebody, the minute they do something you don't like, you're like, red flag, I'm out. Peace, right? But there are some red flags that are clear warnings, like we mentioned. And then the also y'all can relate, if you have not watched it, there were controlling behaviors, abusive behaviors, very manipulative behaviors, and gaslighting. Those are actual red flags. The other thing is when there are warning signs of something, is this person or are you in both of you within the relationship actively working to fix them, right? So I came across this article that talks about the difference between red flags and yellow flags.
Okay.
So what do you think yellow flags are?
Doesn't take out the garbage.
Oh, so you're giving me an example. Okay, so yes, issues that aren't
mild
are milder. They aren't danger signs. So I'm going to just read this. It says, yellow flags are similar to red flags, only slightly less severe. A red flag is a clear warning sign. In contrast, yellow flags indicate a problem area that needs to be addressed. So not taking out the trash is one.
Yeah. So it almost sounds like yellow flags are redeemable.
Yes.
Or worth working on.
They can be addressed. Something that's a simple, quick, easy fix.
Okay.
Right? There are bound to be imperfections and areas of improvement in any relationship. However, no relationship should cause more harm than good. That's something else we fail to acknowledge sometimes in our relationships. Yeah, there can be problems, but are there more problems that there are things that you enjoy? Are you in constant repair mode? Are you constantly apologizing? Are you constantly seeking an apology?
It's crazy because we've both known people. It's like every time you have a conversation with them about their relationship, it's just constant like arguing and just negativity, but they'll stay together for months and months and years and years. And
I saw something about like a negative bias. I was talking to a friend about that. Like, you know, your relationship's in trouble when all you talk about is the negatives. You don't acknowledge the positives, right? And even us with our kids, right? Specifically Eli, because River's still a baby, but
that little asshole.
We gotta catch ourselves if we're constantly complaining about something he's doing and we're not catching him being good.
You pointed that out yesterday, right? About like basically picking up the positive, not just focusing on like, oh, you did this wrong, but what about you did this right?
Yeah. So there's been so many studies that proves that positive reinforcement is more effective at changing behavior than negative reinforcement. So what that means is if every time Eli, I'm going to make something up, left garbage in his room, I punished him for it, is less likely to help than when he brings the garbage down, I reward him. So anytime he does the wanted behavior, meaning put the garbage in the trash can, I need to reward him.
Like, good job, Pop.
Yes.
Thank you for remembering.
And the rewards aren't always physical. It could be just positive words of affirmation. It'll get him to, it's more likely to get him to put the garbage in the trash than punishing him when he doesn't.
Yes.
So focusing on the positives and not the negatives and avoiding that negative bias. And the same applies in relationships. I remember in my psychology courses, I was learning about positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. We use it on pets like dogs and whatever and children, but it works even in our own relationships.
I notice you'll do it with me.
With how so?
I always say, like, you don't have to thank me for doing things I'm supposed to do. And you'll still do it. I forget what it was. Or like yesterday, I think I loaded up the dishwasher while we were all having drinks. And you're like, thank you for doing that. I'm just like, stop, shut up.
You know what's crazy? When you started loading the dishwasher, I got a little bit of like I wanted to get up and like do something. Or I was like, should I have loaded the dishwasher? Like, it's crazy. Like I had to talk myself to just relax, enjoy my beer, and let you load the dishwasher. So then me saying thank you was like, I needed to at least do that. It's so fucking weird.
I appreciate it though. I think I've gotten over you don't have to thank me, and I just take it. Like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I feel seen.
And I feel like we all have behaviors where we seek validation too, right? I know with me, like if I make a meal and you just eat it and don't say anything, I'm like, not that I wanted you to thank me, but I want to know, did you enjoy it? I'm like, was it good? Did you like that? I always
thank you for the meals, but my non-expressive ass will probably just eat everything and then go.
Like I always wonder, like especially if I give you something new, different, like should I buy this again? Did you like that? Like, you know, was this a good combo? You know?
Yeah, everyone wants validation.
Yeah.
In the different areas of their lives.
So if I haven't cooked, it's probably because you didn't tell me anything. No, I'm kidding. Yellow flags are signals that point towards patterns or behaviors that need to be shifted in order for the relationship to flourish. For example, a red flag might be when a partner forbids you from going to events without them. A yellow flag could be them becoming grumpy or angry when you do. So it's like they're being passive aggressive about you going out. That's a yellow flag. But now if they're like, no, you can't go, or they limit your time, which is what was happening in the last episode's submission, that's a red flag. And there's the difference.
I can definitely see that. So going back to the person who was saying seeing red flags as deal breakers, do you think they were basically just referring to yellow flags now that we can separate the two?
I don't know 100%, but I feel like it also, like for example, let's say you see a meme on Instagram and it's like red flag, but you do that. Now you start to feel like you're not worthy of love. Like no one's going to want to be with you. Like you're going to make people run away because you have this behavior or you practice this behavior. And sometimes it's like we all have shit that we need to unlearn and work on. That doesn't mean we need to be tossed away, right? So if your partner has this quote unquote red flag, which might be a yellow flag, it might be worth working out.
And even, last week, I was saying that they don't need to be together, but I don't think that person's like irredeemable.
Yeah, exactly.
They just need to work on some shit, but they're definitely not meant to be with that person. So yeah, there's definitely a difference.
Yeah. And not every behavior is not like who you are. It might be just a maladapted behavior that you picked up for safety, security. You learned it from watching other people do it.
I'm gonna say what someone else is probably thinking. Can you define maladaptive?
So maybe there was a behavior that was necessary for you in childhood.
So like survival.
For survival, or you were bullied in school, so you had to be super tough and extra hard exterior. And at the time, it helped get you through school. It helped get you maybe through disruptive home life.
But now you're in a relationship.
You don't need to do those behaviors anymore. And it's actually hurting you.
It's kind of, the first thing that comes to mind is like when someone goes to prison and then they come out, but they're still on edge.
Yes. And in prison, they needed those behaviors to survive. You're not in there no more. Like, relax. Tone it down.
You don't have to protect your food no more.
Yeah, exactly. That's what maladaptive behaviors are. That's why they joke about like you. Travis eats his food like he was starved. Like you eat so fast, but that's just.
I spent 12 hours in jail once.
Like, have you been to prison or something? Why do you eat so fast? Like, no one's going to take your food from you. It's okay. So, yeah, that's what I mean by maladaptive behaviors. Gotcha. Like, they might have been necessary at one point, but you don't need them anymore now.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. So I'm going to read, like, just random red flags that I found on Google. And you tell me if you think they're red flags or yellow flags. So I'm reading random behaviors.
Oh, okay. So red. Okay.
And you're going to tell me if they're a red flag or a yellow flag.
One flag. Red flag.
Codependency.
Yellow flag.
Why?
Because depending on the relationship dynamic, that's not always a bad thing. Mm-hmm. I think me and you have a little codependency, but it's also works for us. Mm-hmm. It's not like one person is pushing away from it and the other person is like clinging on to their life. I think we both need each other in a healthy way. We both want each other. There's no, I don't think there's ever been a moment where you're out and you're like, I didn't really want Travis to be here, but you know how he is. It's more like, I want you to come with me.
I think of codependency in the sense of like, I can't do anything without you in terms of completing certain tasks. I feel like it's a yellow flag, but it could become a red flag.
I think there's levels to codependency. I don't think there's just one. Maybe there is just one definition of it, but my understanding of it, I think we're like, if there's 3 levels, we're like level 1.5.
But I also feel like it could be worked on. Like you could admit, like, I'm codependent. Like, I don't like calling to make my dentist appointments. I don't like going to Walmart by myself. I can't make a decision on what to eat ever. Like, I need you to pick. Like, okay, this is bad, but it could be worked on.
Yeah.
It's not like a warning, like run away.
So your yellow flag.
Lack of trust.
Yellow flag, because I do think that's something that could be worked on.
Okay.
Now, kind of like the previous thing, there's levels to it, right? Because what that could lead to different things, right?
Overly controlling behavior.
And that could stem from lack of trust, right?
And that's a red flag. So if it's just lack of trust, that's yellow. But if now your lack of trust leads to overly controlling behaviors, it's definitely a red flag. Anger management issues.
For a relationship, red flag. For life, it's a yellow flag.
For life is yellow. Why?
Because it's something that can be worked on. But I don't think.
So in a relationship,
I don't think you need to be with someone working on their anger management. Like, come back to me once you've seen the lady and done the work. But why does anyone have to go through that type of torture to potentially see the light at the end of the tunnel?
To it, because I feel like even in our relationship, like, I've actively worked on my reactiveness. And I feel like that's technically a form of anger if you're very reactive.
Okay, so maybe I'm thinking about the most extreme examples of anger management.
Because when we think of anger management, we think of like road rage and like the person who punched the McDonald's worker because they didn't get barbecue sauce. So you're thinking of that, like getting so angry at random shit.
Okay, so yeah, if it's mild, then yeah, I guess you could work it through.
Yeah.
So it's yellow.
When you fell asleep on the couch the other day, a YouTube video played of this girl at McDonald's who got so angry that they messed up her order. She called 911 on them. Anyway, that's anger management.
I feel her.
Needs.
Remember all those Uber Eats orders I used to get our money back for because they forgot my sauce? I feel you, sis.
Frequent lying, red flag or yellow flag? Wow, that's a red flag. Frequent lying?
Yeah.
Wow, you could tell Travis was a liar in his past.
No, it's like anything. It's like everything we've been talking about. There's level.
Well, I said frequent.
Yeah. So yeah, red flag.
Constant put-downs.
Red flag.
I feel like put-downs, period, is a red flag. Like, it's one of those things that, like, are a big no-no in relationships. What?
So when you dig at me.
What I dig at you about?
You be saying things about my appearance and my bodily parts that I can't help.
You are a liar. But yes, that's an example.
You said I have big balls.
But that's just facts. He has BBE instead of
big
BDE.
Ball energy. Oh my God.
Yeah. Put downs about anything that you are self-conscious about, and then your partner's using that against you. Hell fucking no. That's terrible.
Big red flag.
Or even things about your past. I've witnessed or noticed or have heard of situations, relationships where they might even use your past against you or your family against you. Like if there's a situation in, like, let's say you and I are having an argument, right? And then you're like, no wonder your mother always yelled at you as a kid because you're so fucking hard-headed. You know, like.
And that's mild. That's a mild example. Mild,
but I'm just trying to think of like using your past and invalidating your feelings and stuff. Oh, like a cappuccino. You see the dog. Not our dog. Anyway. So yeah, constant put downs, absolutely not. Unwillingness to compromise.
Yellow. I say it's yellow because I do think that's something that could be worked on. And then it's also, if you dig deeper and you have to say like, all right, what's the reason that they're unable to compromise? I think that's, you know.
Like if they want to work on it, it can be worked on.
Yeah.
I agree. A lack of healthy, open communication.
Yellow.
Why?
Just because you can bring that out of someone and you can show them the benefits and you can express, why it's so important to you. Would you say we were pretty expressive from the jump?
I feel like I always was. You are a little more reserved. I feel like you still kind of are. But it also could be that I just talk way too fucking much.
Yeah, because I don't think I'm like turning on a personality when we hit record. I think this is me.
Yeah.
And we have some pretty deep conversations. It might not be when you want, but
I think we have good communication because if something comes up on the TV, in a movie or show, we could have a very healthy debate or...
Yeah, we press pause a lot to, have a conversation about what we just
watched,
digested.
Yeah, and apply it to life, apply it to us, make connections to the world. Like we have very deep conversations.
And I think that's also, and I've said it before, that's another reason why we were so comfortable even starting this podcast is because we have these type of conversations. So this isn't a reach.
Now we'd be like, wait, save it for the podcast.
Every time we're having a really good conversation amongst ourselves or with family, I'm like, damn, I wish our mics were out right now.
Yeah, we need to have like just cameras following us around. Yeah. Let's swap over to the next topic if you're okay with that. So something that was kind of spicy over on our Instagram, someone posted a screenshot of a text.
Okay.
And it was a man asking a woman, when are you taking me on a trip?
Okay.
And the screenshot was also posted with the caption, these can't be the same men as my grandpa. So
times have changed.
Yeah, so times have changed. So do you think it's acceptable for a man to ask a woman he is courting, when are you taking me on a trip?
Seriously or jokingly? Because I do think I've said joking, like it's almost like a flirtation technique.
You can't flirt for shit.
What do you say?
I don't find that cute or funny or flirty.
There's so much. I have so many questions. Like, what led up to that moment? Was it out the blue? Was it like, good morning?
Okay, so without knowing the context, if you were to apply it to you, would you ever ask a woman that? Do you think it's appropriate?
Seriously,
I don't know. You tell me.
I would probably, knowing me, I would probably jokingly say it.
Okay.
Because I know it's like it's never gonna happen. So yeah, it's just jokey, flirty thing. But if if it was serious, then I'd say, what are you doing here? Yeah. But can we be honest and say that women would probably ask for that in the courting phase?
Okay. So for me, I feel the only context where this will make sense for a man to ask a woman, or even a woman to ask a man, is if the other person is constantly on trips. Like they travel a lot, they go out a lot, so then it's like within the conversation about the type of person they are, it's like, shit, when you taking me on a trip?
Or like, I don't know, if someone, before you always see them at like a basketball game and you're like,
when you taking me to a basketball game?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense-ish. Mm-hmm. But it's also pretty bold.
And a trip is a lot more expensive than a basketball game. Well, it depends, right? What seats you got. Because if you got the Drake seats, it depends, right? So I was asking, and we were receiving a lot of messages, and there was a lot of talk about women wanting to be 50-50. Like, why not? Why can't a woman ask? I hate that conversation because we're still not at a place that in most heterosexual relationships, most heterosexual couples, is never 50-50. It's like very rare that that's the case. So no, I don't want to spend my money on any guy. Like, no, I just don't think.
Even in a relationship?
Spending money is it could be interpreted differently, because obviously you spend money when you're in a relationship with a person, right? Especially if you live together, you have bills, like food in the fridge, like whatever. But I don't think like spending loads of money, like a whole trip or designer clothes, diamond rings, jewelry. For me, the woman that I am in my tax bracket, like I just find it like, no, like I don't want to do that. But I will say, I do feel like it's kind of hot if you're like, you got it like that, you got money, whatever, and you could kind of show out to like a guy, like, I could fucking pay for that, like whatever, I guess. But that's rich people problems that I know nothing about.
No, because this isn't just a rich versus poor or middle class, whatever you want to look at it. Mm-hmm. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, mm-hmm. you prioritize the things you want to prioritize. If doing something nice for me is a priority for you, you're going to save that money to do that.
Okay.
So, this whole thing about things not being equal, I think that's bullshit. Like you can show out for the person you care about without mm-hmm. it being this whole discussion about wage and class and all this sex and all this other stuff.
I don't know.
I think you need to.
I think I'm just allergic to spending money on men.
I know, because
and it might be toxic.
No, you know what? Since we want to bring real shit here.
Oh God.
How long we been together?
You're not about to bring up the chain.
Oh, what? How do you know what I'm asking? How do you know what I'm about to bring up?
Because the reason.
Hold on.
Go ahead. We've been together 7 years.
Years. I have been dropping hints mm-hmm. that I think I would like a nice chain. Like we'll get dressed. And I like my outfit. I'm like, what would really complete this outfit? A chain. Years. No lie. I've been saying this for years. You would think Father's Day, Valentine's Day, birthday, Christmas. Baby, here's that chain. Or you know what, baby, I got the money. Let's go to the jeweler. There were times in our relationship where she would literally say like 2 words. I would write it down. And then the next time it's time to surprise her with a gift. He'd be like, well, you remember that thing you mentioned?
There were times. He hasn't done it. No, I'm kidding.
So what's the excuse? You just allergic to spending money on me?
No, because our situation is very different. Like when our money is our money together, right? I'm just not good at gift giving. Like I'm not a planner with gifts. And I also like you to be direct with me, not throw hints about things you might want. When you want things, you usually just get them. You're not the type of person to sit around waiting for things. So it made me think like he don't really care for a chain. He would have had a chain if he really wanted a chain. No?
Bullshit.
All right. Well, now I'm a stay-at-home mom, so you got to get your own chain. I provide you a nice home. I take care of your children so that you can work hard and buy your own chain. Okay, so I'm going to read some of the comments people were saying in regards to this.
Okay.
Yeah, don't take things too seriously and have fun with it. If you view it negatively, meaning a man asking that, you may be creating the conflict in your head and reading more into the situation than they intended. So like you said, it's probably a joke.
Yeah.
That reminds me, like, when you really just don't like someone anyway, so you look for any little thing. So if that really bothered you, like, you're not into this guy.
And if it was someone you were really into, you're like,
yeah.
Let me look.
Or there were other parts in this conversation that showed that this guy was trying to get something out of her.
I know. Well, I probably know the answer to this, but have you ever bought a guy something in the dating phase?
No. But I did really like a guy once that wasn't interested in me, I realized after. But he kind of took advantage of the fact that I liked him and was trying to get money from me. So there are men who do that.
I think I can only think of one scenario. Maybe a few more. But
like, he kind of gave me little bullshit scenarios and would talk about, like, yo, my car needs this, or like, oh, like bullshit and little excuse, like, to see if I would like offer him money. Ghetto as hell. What are you gonna say?
There's two things I want to say. One, I remember I kept dropping a hint at this expensive ass t-shirt. It was like a $300 t-shirt. And I didn't think it would happen, but then next thing I know, I got an email.
You see, that's a red flag. If you're dating a guy and he keeps throwing hints, please.
I was young.
See that? I pray to God that Eli and River would never do some shit like that. That's the thing I say, like, men shouldn't do. And it might sound old school weird, but
I agree.
And honestly, I wouldn't want my daughters doing it either, like dropping hints, unless you're already in a relationship. Like the way you keep dropping hints about this chain, that's different in our situation. But if you're just dating, courting, fucking around with someone, and you're like, I don't even want my daughters doing that. Like, it comes off like, what's the word? Like, you're a user.
Yeah. The second thing I was gonna say, this one's a little funny. I was dating a girl once, and she cheated on me. And I saw the messages between her and the guy that she cheated on me with. And, they were having like sexual conversation. But the one thing that pissed me off the most about that whole conversation wasn't the details about the sex, was the fact that he was like, so you gonna buy me that phone, right? And she was like, yes.
Oh my, so she was playing you and she was getting played.
I was like, you just gonna buy this nigga a
phone? See, like things like that. And there's people in general that I would say will get into little situationships and try to get stuff from the person. That's wrong either way. But I find it especially just like, who the fuck raised you when men are doing it?
Yeah. It's definitely nasty behavior.
Yeah. And it's like, we live in a society that it's easier for men to make money. Like, I don't give a fuck what you want to say. It's just real life. Like, there's so many jobs like that require physical labor that society deems women incapable of doing. Like, go do something, make money. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. I'm thankful to have my 9 to 5 because it kind of takes a bit of that stress off. But if I didn't, I could think of like 10 different ways right now that I could bring in income legally. And it also has a lot to do with me being a man. So there are no excuses. That's why.
Which is why, I might find me being sexist or whatever, but it's not as cringy when women expect from men, because it's like, duh. It's harder for women to make money and do things. And like I said, it's never going to be 50-50 in a relationship. Rarely, I will say. So if in the relationship, in the courtship, in the dating, the woman is providing more physical labor in the relationship, like, it's okay for the woman to expect more material resources from the guy. Yeah. Like, most likely the girl's doing more cooking and cleaning. So why the fuck can't the man just provide more financially? Like, and that's how we balance the scales.
Would you say our scales are pretty balanced?
Yeah, I do. I feel like we worked on it. Like there were times where I felt like you weren't doing enough around the house, especially when I was working 2 jobs and I was in school. It's like, what the fuck? And I remember we might have spoke about this, but you were making more money than me, but you only had 1 job. I had 2 jobs and I was in school. So I was like, technically you make more money, but I work much harder. So you need to be making up for that in other ways. And we've gone through that. And I feel like that's important in relationships. Like 50-50 doesn't necessarily mean like, it's not like when you with your siblings at home or if you have a roommate and y'all literally dividing things 50-50, right? Like I do dishes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's not like that. You find ways to make that balance actually exist.
Yeah.
That video we posted of me clocking out of baby duty obviously is a joke. Like you come home and I'm like so happy to give you River. Yeah, that one. People are like, when does he clock out? When does he clock out? But then it's like, when would I clock out if I'm with the baby all day, 24/7? No one's asking that. So it's like you gotta find balance, and we live in a capitalistic world. We all fucking work too much. We all have too many things to do, and we need to help each other out. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Facts.
Some more comments. Dating is a bit one-sided in society. Kind of talked about this. I feel like we hear a lot about the man spoiling the woman, but don't hear about it happening the other way around. Probably because what I just said. In society, we aren't balanced, so we gotta make our own balance. I have no joy, I have no desire to spoil a man. If I was a multimillionaire, would I feel like a boss ass bitch telling a guy like, I got it? Maybe, but that ain't my life. I always tell my boyfriend that if you do it for me, I should be willing to do it for you too. And I never want him to feel he has to spoil me or whatever. And I get that. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to spoil me financially. But I don't think it's if you do it for me, I do it for you. No.
It's no tit for tat.
It's not tit for tat. And again, you might be quote unquote spoiling me in terms of spending money to buy material things, but I'm probably taking on more of the labor to just maintain a home. So I do deserve the spoiling.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. It's unfortunate that, the world is set up the way it is right now. Mm-hmm. So men are just making more money, right? Mm-hmm. But the way we can, I don't know if we're not going to change the world, at least not overnight, but the way we can balance the scales is that if you have someone who's curating your home and providing for not only you, but your kids, it should be nothing to pour into that emotionally and with
financially
coin. Mm-hmm. So that's why, to me, it's just like, what do you need? And I figure out how to get it.
Yeah.
Legally.
Legally, for real. And at work, so this is not relationship wise, men, if you have an opportunity to advocate for women, do it. Be transparent about your pay, because a lot of times women get paid less for doing the same exact job as a man, and that companies get away with that because people don't talk about their pay.
I like what the mayor just put into effect.
So New York mayor, we don't live in New York anymore, so we can't say the mayor.
Well, I work in New York.
Oh, you work in New York. Yeah.
But basically you have to be transparent with the salary for a position.
Yeah, so if a company posts a job, they have to post a salary range in the description of the job. That protects people, especially women and people of color, from being lowballed when they try to get a job. Yep. So yeah, find ways to disrupt the system at work as well as at home. Yeah. The last thing that someone says is, I need context. Does the woman travel often for work or leisure? If so, what? It might make sense. So that's what I kind of mentioned earlier. Like,
she might be a stewardess.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you might, or you might have buddy passes. For a man or a woman to say that out of the blue and mean it, that's a little out of hand, in my opinion. I agree. man or woman, we shouldn't be asking for such expensive things right away.
I'm thinking, because like I said earlier, I could see it jokingly. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're talking to someone and they're like, yeah, I have a girls trip coming up, and it just leads into that joke.
Mm-hmm. That's not funny. It depends on the girl, because like,
listen, you could say anything. If someone's into you, they're into you.
If they're, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, oh
you could
God,
say red
so
flags.
Funny, girl.
Red flags. They're like, ha, 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 they were green.
My credit score is 400. Oh, we can work on that.
Yeah. But there's certain, it depends on the person, because I don't find that shit funny.
Okay, good to know.
But when you taking me on a trip? When you taking me on a trip?
When you take me on when you get me a chain, I'll hand you a ticket.
All right. So my just a tip for the day is that in the courting phase, it's never okay to ask for gifts or trips, man or woman.
Can you receive them?
You could receive them. But I also feel like I would see it as a red flag or maybe a yellow flag if it's excessive gift giving too soon. It's like, are you trying to buy me? Mm-hmm. And then also a lot of the times it's not sustainable. So that's my second part of the tip. Don't flash money and luxury as a way to entice a partner, right? Because men, especially with that video I posted about child support, mm-hmm. Oh, women like to trap men, but y'all here showing out, trying to get women with this boastfulness. So what the fuck you think you're gonna attract? So if you don't want the men and women who are attracted to you to want you just for money and gifts and trips,
then show more.
Then show other things about your personality that isn't just that. You know, like, especially in conversations, like a lot of people like to show off with their money. Don't do that, because then people who are attracted to you want money.
Listen.
What?
I was gonna say my face card. Was it my face?
My face card never declines.
Yeah, never. Period.
Luckily, we met in person the first time we ever met.
I feel like I've never had to be anyone but myself. Like I'm not. I don't know if it's what's the word I'm looking for? Like I think I'm being honest when I say I think I'm an attractive guy, and
you're right.
So I've never felt like I've had to like show money to get someone. And if someone didn't like me, then I'd be like, well, someone else will.
Yeah. I feel like attraction, like everyone has different attraction styles. Some people are very particular and like every single person they date looks exactly the same, which is fucking weird. I feel like it's random. Like, I don't know. Like, I know the minute I saw you, I was attracted to you. But there's other people that you aren't necessarily attracted to right away and it grows. Yeah. And there's some people that money makes you look better. That's being real. Like sometimes you see people on TV and you're like, they're only attractive because they have money.
You know, rappers, for example.
Mm-hmm. They be like, that motherfucker's ugly as hell, but he got a lot of money.
Like Little Baby looks insane. But he began all these girls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Money makes you attractive.
Facts. So, my love.
Yeah. I was going to say something, but.
What?
I was just going to say rappers. It's the money, but sometimes it's also the
artistry.
Not only the artistry, but the voice, I feel. Because I feel like Drake, I'm attracted to his voice. Like when I hear it, I'm like, oh, I love hearing
So was it my
voice.
face card or my voice card?
It was your face. Because it was like instant with music. Before I heard your voice, I found you attractive. I feel like maybe the voice helped. That I was like, oh, fuck, and he got a deep ass voice. But, you know.
And now we're here.
No
gold chain. My love.
Daddy.
Do you still like me?
I like you again.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.